offered to perform an exorcism for her to rid her of the technological demons she'd opened herself to, even pretended to speak in tongues at one point. r/AskReddit by online comps. Have you ever successfully stopped a repeat marketing or scam phone call? How did you do it? Hello. We'd like to offer you a free trip to Las Vegas. Sir, are you aware that you just called the emergency line of a Department of Energy research facility? We need to keep this line clear. You will add us to your do no call list. If I receive another call from your company, I will report this upstairs. Click. It helps that I'm not lying. Edit. This gained some traction. I do work at a Dole lab, and part of my job is to answer the site's emergency line, not 911, and direct/dispatch emergency units when emergencies do happen, and they do. We have had telemarketers call that line. I have used this technique, and if I absolutely needed to, I could kick this up to my boss, and it would wind up on a desk in Washington. If it's an automated call, I redirect it to a computer that reads off the time and weather. That way the scammer's computer might think that someone's on the line and won't hang up right away. Well, I will be using that at some point and will be lying. Soon, every number will be the emergency line of a department. I'll be using Department of Spontaneous Insect Combustion Research. I'm thinking nitroglycerine-laced blood will pop mosquitoes. Do you think nitroglycerine-laced blood will pop telemarketers? Bloodsucker is a bloodsucker. I got a call from one of those "you've been selected for a free trip to the Bahamas" scammers. I told her that I couldn't do that right now. "Oh no sir, you don't understand, it's free, you just need to." No, I understand that ma'am, it's just I'm currently under federal investigation and cannot leave the country. Click. I'm ringing about your recent accident. Oh, you mean when I ran over all those children? I'm sorry. I know, I shouldn't have gone flat out in a school zone. Okay, did they figure out which heads went with which bodies? Click. Got a call that there was a virus on my computer. Told them that was impossible as I throw my computer into the river, so the cops couldn't get any evidence on me. Haven't heard from them since. My wife got a call from Microsoft. I acted confused, like if they are from ours or what, because it's a work laptop. After a bit told them I work for big tech company, and if my laptop is having problems it should be ours calling me. They panicked and hung up. Pretty sure she hasn't gotten another one since. Didn't help that she didn't own a laptop. She only had her company one, and that mine was a Mac, so we literally didn't own a Windows box at the time. Would receive a specific one 9 times out of 10. Your car warranty is about to expire. Press 1 if you'd like to be connected to a representative. So I would oblige. Wait for someone to come on the line and say make, model and year of your vehicle, which I usually followed up with 2013 Hasbro ATV or 2017 Little Tikes tricycle or something of that nature. I must have become a famous caller because they only called maybe 6 times after I started doing that, and they always started with "oh look who it is." Eventually, it just stopped. I assume it's because they were tired of wasting their time on someone who was wasting their time. I get a call from a random pharmaceutical company saying that my supply, if Viagra, is ready for pickup. I told him that I had a complaint regarding the Viagra. I said that I only took half a pill and now only half of my pages was hard. Now my base is hard, but the tip was soft, and I was pissed. I kept going on this Viagra rant for about a minute or so, and then they hang up. Happened twice and my friends are still laughing. Half my pages was hard, holy sh, that's gold, OMG. Answer the phone. Connect to an agent, mute your phone, and carry on with what you were doing. They quickly take you off their dialers when you waste their agent's time. I'm mostly the same, but I've stepped it up. Answer, connect, mute, the same. But when a person picks up and starts speaking, I rapid fire press numbers on my keypad until they hang up. My favorite response to it has been, "Beautiful song sir, we won't call again." They called again. Not me, but my grandma. After grandpa died, she started getting phone calls in the evening from an insurance agent trying to sell her insurance for her husband. She's very polite, but she always says no thank you before she hangs up the phone. This goes on for almost a week. Grandma is really beside herself about these calls, and she tells my mom how upset she is with this man. One evening, I guess the guy was really impatient with her, and before Grandma could say no thank you, the agent asked her, "But ma'am, you need your husband to be covered. Don't you care if he's covered?" To which she promptly replied, "He is covered with 6 feet of dirt. Is that enough coverage for you?" The man hung up on her and didn't call again. Grandma really was a nice lady, and she was embarrassed that she lost her temper with that guy. My sisters and loved that story. Close bracket. My gran would get calls from companies about her dead husband's bills. She would get snarky with them and give them the number and address of the cemetery where he's buried at. My friend speaks English, Spanish and Russian. He would just start randomly switching between languages, and each language had a different personality. He would confuse them into total submission. They rarely called back. I worked in a restaurant that was definitely not called J. Alexander's. At said restaurant you got 3 table sections, and I had a co-worker that would use a different accent at each table. Table 1 was Australian, table 2 was German, and table 21 was Indian. Once a table got up, the new table got a new accent. It was his mental game to keep the accent straight for the whole shift, every table. I got a call, started reeling off this massive script, finished probably after 2 minutes of solid talking, and I politely sat through the whole thing. I paused and said, "Sorry?" She said again, and started the whole script again from the start. Another 2 minutes solid talk wall later, I said, "Sorry?" This time, there was a bit of frustration in her voice. Again and once again did the whole 2 minutes again, aggressively this time. "Sorry? Fuck this," and the call ended. Saying something like, "Hello there, you are speaking with a sales representative from pleasure.com. What kind of X toys do you want to order?" Really scream it at them, BTW. It always works for me. Welcome to Jim's whorehouse, MBTW. It always works for me. You got the dough, we got the whole point, MBTW. It always works for me. Thanks for calling Jim's sperm bank, MBTW. It always works for me. You wank it, we bank it, MBTW. It always works for me. You squeeze it, we freeze it, MBTW. It always works for me. I used to get a lot of unsolicited calls from a company who could sort my debt, MBTW. It always works for me. I got a call from them one day when I wasn't doing much at home, so decided to have some fun, MBTW. It always works for me. I gave a false name, false address, which they couldn't find on their system. I convinced them it was a new build eventually, MBTW. It always works for me. I then went through my debts meticulously, had them waiting, while I found the paperwork, etc. MBTW. It always works for me. Some of the debts were for my exchange, and then reverting back, because I changed my mind. MBTW. It always works for me. 30-40 minutes later, and I had over £300k debt, and able to pay up to £4,000 per month to clear it with them. The woman on the phone got her boss, because it was such a big contract, and when the boss lady got on the phone, I told her I made it all up. I kid you not, she told me I was wasting their time, and that I shouldn't do that, then hung up on me. Never heard from them again. I got a call about having $10,000 in credit debt. I have never had a credit card. I tried to troll a guy who was clearly calling people to get their bank account information by saying they were giving away money to help college students. He was from India and was dedicated to his job. I tried to piss him off for about 30 minutes, but he kept interrupting me, and I eventually told him to fuck off and hung up the phone. I tried to piss him off for about 30 minutes, but he kept interrupting me, and I eventually told him to fuck off and hung up the phone. He kept cutting me off, saying, "But my friend, Madarak, you bloody fucking guy." I unplugged the landline. It was either that shit or my father-in-law, so win-win. You should have unplugged the father-in-law. Beep beep beep. I always just say Bill's orphanage, you make M, we take M. They usually don't call back after that. You can see them, we retrieve them. Answer the phone with Ghostbusters what they want, and get increasingly exasperated when they don't have a legitimate paranormal issue. Helps to loudly snack gum. If I knew Ghostbusters better, I'd probably try this next time a scammer calls my number. This is pretty hilarious. I managed to stop the Indian Microsoft customer service scammers from calling me. The calls were getting pretty bad earlier this year, probably 4 a day from the same people, usually the same person. I finally got tired of it and decided that I was going to mess with them. So the next time they called, I told them that I had all Apple products. Well, what do you know? A few minutes after we hung up, Apple customer service called to tell me that my computer had a virus. Cue my response, Apple. Why is Apple calling me? I only use Windows products. The guy cursed at me and hung up. This little charade went on for a few days, with him getting angrier and angrier each time. He said he was going to cut off my face and wear it one time. I told him that I would feel pretty sorry if he did, because then he would be even uglier than he is now. That was the last I heard from that particular guy, as they switched over to having a woman call me after that. Though I could clearly hear him ranting about me in the background during one phone call. I kind of feel sorry for the woman, because I had hatched a master plan to get the calls to stop. And she just so happened to have drawn the short straw to call my house that day. Hello, this is Microsoft customer support. Ma'am, I'm calling you today to tell you that your computer has a virus. Me, computer? I don't own a computer. Oh, I'm sorry, not your computer, your tablet. Me, I don't own one of those either. Well, how do you get on the internet? Me, the internet. Why would I want to get on the internet? We don't allow any of the devil's technology in this house. The internet is a tool of Satan. I refuse to use it. I will not touch any piece of technology that can access it. How dare you imply that I would fill my life with sin by having a computer? I rebuke that idea. I then ranted about technology being of the devil for several minutes. Offered to perform an exorcism for her to rid her of the technological demons she'd opened herself to. Even pretended to speak in tongues at one point. At first she kept trying to interrupt me and continue on with her spiel, but I didn't really let her. By the end she was speechless. She managed to stutter an apology and hung up, and I haven't been bothered by either Microsoft or Apple customer support in probably 6 months. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button and let this pup enjoy his childhood meal. Also, please hit the bell icon and leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and try to smile.